What it do, and welcome to Allowme2ButtinSports. My name's Rue, and I'm here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the expectations for this defense on the upcoming season. Here's the deal. Again, just like with the offense, the defense, everybody's worried about the loss of Randy Gregory. And my whole thing about the loss of Randy Gregory is I feel like, just like with the offense, this team has done what it needs to do in order to replace what they lost in terms of what they lost with Randy Gregory. And what have they done? They went out and got Dante Fowler, which again, it's not a huge signing. It's not like this big deal, right? But at the end of the day, it's a guy who knows Dan Quinn's system and who could look to reinvigorate his career here in Dallas. Not to mention, they went out and got a guy in the draft, in Sam Williams, who Dan Quinn was extremely excited about because he was one of the guys that he wanted him to get. And I wonder why they got him. It's because Dan Quinn has done amazing things with this defense. Dan Quinn is key. Dan Quinn is the biggest piece that brought this whole thing together. Because let's not forget how bad this defense was just a few seasons ago. It really wasn't that long ago. And the bottom line is this defense, with the production of the offense, is going to be much better this season. And obviously, this is for every team, right? You feed off your offense, you feed off your defense. They feed off of each other. If your offense is doing well, your defense generally does well as well. I mean, if they're always on the field, it's hard for them to do well. Now, ultimately, when we're looking at this, right, we lost Randy Gregory, we got Sam Williams, we got Dante Fowler. Sam Williams could definitely find his way into this role, relatively quickly. We don't know what we're going to get, but when you're looking at Sam Williams' raw numbers, he competes with some of the best that just came out of this draft. I mean, just to mention some guys that we passed up on the draft, like Jermaine Johnson II or George Karlaftis, his numbers are very comparable. Not to mention, he was always at Ole Miss. And he put up impressive numbers against guys like Michael Cross that was at Mississippi State, had 2 sacks against him in the Egg Bowl when they played against each other. And he has experience against good linemen. I mean, he went up against Neal from Alabama as well. So Sam Williams definitely has some good experience. Now, obviously it's at the college level, and I expect to see it progress because this kid has raw talent and he's definitely a physical athlete. And again, the theme of that Dallas Cowboys draft, they definitely chose violence. There's no question about that. And these guys, every last one of these picks was a physical caliber guy. Everything from Tyler Smith to Sam Williams to Damon Clark to John Ridgeway that they picked up, Devin Harper. All these guys were, physical dog mentality guys. And it's just one of those scenarios where I really feel like they're going to fill a lot of these pieces. Now, if we move on, because my biggest concern, one of my biggest guys that I wanted to get in this draft was Jordan Davis, because I was so, my biggest takeaway was the inside of this defensive line because they ran through us like tissue paper, especially in the playoff game. And I felt like that was the biggest flaw in the defense throughout the entire season. It wasn't so much outside as they could just run straight through the middle of this defense. And what they've done, from what I understand, looks like Chauncey Golston's put on some weight, found his way under the defensive tackle spot, along with Neville Gallimore, the Oklahoma Sooner. They have both anchored themselves into the middle of this defensive line. And the beauty of it is it looks like we have depth at the position because people are still pretty high on Oso Odigizua, who's also in that spot. And they just drafted a guy in John Ridgeway from the University of Arkansas, who Mike McCarthy just a little while ago was talking about how he was like the anchor inside the middle of that defense. And it's amazing to see that they've gotten, after being so porous last season, to see us just fully come into it this season and go, hey, we're going to commit to this position and add some depth to it. Because there's definitely depth there. You have those two that I mentioned, along with Oso Odigizua, and then John Ridgeway to head it up on the inside. And then, of course, D-Law, which looks like D-Law has lit a fire under himself just because the fact of the matter is he said it himself that Micah Parsons outplayed him last season, that he was outdone by the rookie. He was outshined by the rookie, and he's like, I'm going to get myself involved with this defense again. I'm still one of the leaders on this team, and I'm going to do what I can to make sure that, I'm back up to the upper echelon of this defense. Because the fact of the matter is, it looks like that these guys are all motivating each other with their exquisite play. Everything from Micah motivating D-Law to Micah just motivating the entire linebacking core, as well as Trayvon motivating his other secondary players with Anthony Brown and Malik Hooker. These guys were getting more interceptions and more takeaways just last season, just feeding off each other. And I feel like that is going to continue to carry over. When it comes to Micah Parsons, the fact of the matter is, man, he's a top 5 favorite to finish as Defensive Player of the Year this season, according to Vegas. The truth is, Micah Parsons is a special generational talent, and we are blessed to have him. As much as anybody talked about when we drafted him originally, just this past season, the rookie has literally come into his own, and I feel like he has got to be one of the biggest leaders on this defense, because he is leading the way in terms of how he's approaching the game. And there's no question that he is a special talent, that he has just come in and taken over for this Dallas Cowboys defense. And the truth is, he's like a hybrid. You can stick him on the line, you can stick him in the linebacking core, he's going to sack the quarterback, he's going to drop back into coverage. He can literally do it all. And I love seeing how much I'm going to love seeing how much he's going to develop just in this season, because let's not forget, he was just a rookie. He's going to get better, which is even scary to think about, because the fact of the matter is, he was already one of the upper echelon players last season. Coming into this season, there's no ceiling for what we can see from Micah Parsons. When you look at everything else when it comes to the linebacking core, I think the linebacking core has turned into that portion of our defense where we have some question marks. We have question marks everywhere, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes to the linebacking core, you have a guy like Leighton Vander Esch alongside Micah Parsons, which Leighton, it feels like he's one step, maybe 1 foot out the door, and it's like, who's going to fill that void? Is it going to be Devin Harper, the Oklahoma State Cowboy, that has, like I said, that dog mentality in him? I mean, all of 2019, he played with a broken hand at the linebacker position and still made an impact. The dude's got skills, and I really feel like he might be able to come into this spot. And let's not forget about Jabril Cox. I know a lot of people are excited about Jabril Cox and what his potential could be in this linebacking core, what he's going to be able to do to get himself involved, because obviously he's been, held back from injury and everything else. And then when it comes to the secondary, what to expect out of this secondary, I'm going to tell you right now, Malik Hooker is one of those special secondary players at our safety spot. The man led the team in tackles just this past season, and the fact of the matter is, he's trying to show that he is one of the upper echelon safeties in this league. And he's been quoted as saying that if he's not considered one of the best, it's a bust season for him. And I really feel like he's going to be able to fill that void in terms of what we do in our secondary. Not to mention, let's not sleep on Anthony Brown. Because everybody talks so much bad, like everybody talks down on Anthony Brown like he's just like not this great player. The fact of the matter is, he had a great season just this past season. He had multiple interceptions in crucial games and crucial moments last season. He had one in the playoff game against San Francisco. He definitely does his job, especially being the secondary cornerback for this defense. And when it comes to Trayvon Diggs, the slander just needs to stop, because the fact of the matter is, he's still an infant in this position. He still has miles to go in terms of what he has to learn, and he's already one of the better corners in this league. Dan Quinn is going to be key. Like I said, Dan Quinn is going to get these guys together, cohesive, motivated, and it's just going to be one of those defenses where I really feel like it's going to be upper echelon. I mean, top 5, top 7 at the worst case scenario. They were already one of the better defenses just this past season. I feel like they're going to progress, and I feel like they're just going to get better and build off of what they did the year before. I really don't think there's going to be any doubt in my mind that this defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the league. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Tell me where I missed the boat. Let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear what you got to say. Follow me for more. I appreciate you joining me for the video, and y'all take care.